Welcome to Business as a Magical Practice, where your business is the vehicle for your self-integration and soul evolution. My name is Sam Garcia, and I'm the founder of Dirty Alchemy Digital Marketing. And I'll be guiding you through how you can use your business as a spiritual practice and what magical businesses are doing to hit their goals and change the world. Together, we'll be relating the mystical to the world of business so that our work can unite spirit and matter, shadow and light, conscious and unconscious. Let's dive in. Hey everyone! I'm really excited to talk to you all this week. I ended up having to reschedule with Carolyn Elliott, so I'll be putting that out in a couple weeks instead of this week, which is a bit of a bummer, but it is coming, I promise. We do have a really great episode today on planetary deities and your business and how to work with them within your business. But before we get in there, I just wanted to share a few things. I turned 30 this last weekend, which is very funny because I am often told I look way younger than I am and act way older than I am based on who I'm talking to and what context. I was always a child that sat at the adult table and talked to adults instead of other children, so I've always felt older than I am, but my Gemini rising definitely gives off youthful vibes. And so I feel like I've been in my 30s for years now, and I'm happy that my age has finally caught up with me. But in reflecting on the last decade, I do have some thoughts that I wanted to share before going into today's episode. I had kind of a tumultuous 20s, like many people. By tumultuous, I mean tons of internal torture. I laugh, but hating myself, abusing myself, second-guessing myself, being unsure about my direction, dealing with depression and anxiety. This will probably be a larger topic of conversation for a future day, but I was just kind of sad thinking about versions of my past self and the fact that I put myself through so much pain that I didn't have to at all. But just being on the other side of it and being so clear in my vision and clear of the future and happy where everything is at and where everything is going now, it's just so clear how much torture I put myself through that was really unnecessary in my early 20s and even mid 20s. And the real idea I wanted to share with this is that a fucked up brain doesn't mean you can't be successful or of service. I've built a successful business and I've helped my clients significantly all while dealing with this shit. So you can be successful even if you have a mental health disorder or dealing with mental health issues, and you can have a successful business if some days you can't get out of bed or you're vicious to yourself in your own head or you're dealing with an eating disorder. And it was actually through building my business and running through that fire that I built confidence over time and made the massive changes over time, and through working with magic and through working with money and through working with business and through working with clients. All of it was very much healing tools for me. So I just wanted to share that in case it resonates with anyone. If there's any doubt in your head that because of your inconsistent mental state or inconsistent energy levels or inconsistent emotions, that doesn't have to be a barrier towards building a business that you really love. Yeah. And you may need help from a team, a mentor, a therapist, an energy worker, from God or spirit, or like we're talking about today, a planetary deity. So yeah, I love you. You're awesome. So planetary magic. If you don't know what that is, planetary magic is working with the planets to assist in your desired outcomes and desired realities here on Earth. Since ancient times, humans have worshipped the visible planets as deities, as gods and goddesses. You can imagine a time where there was no artificial lighting or light pollution and the night sky was full of stars. Us, as humans, had a very real and very meaningful relationship with the sky. The stars move for the most part together as one, but the planets, as you look in the sky, moved seemingly on their own volition. They had a mind of their own, a spirit of their own. Shamanic practices would allow these ancient societies to commune with the energies of the planet, to know their essence, their nature, the desires. And they would use these very large energies to empower what they wanted in their lives, to find more love, to build wealth, to expand psychic abilities, to protect their family. So this is very much a part of our human ancestry, our evolution. We may have lost touch with this, with the disconnection with the natural world and our disconnection from the sky, the night sky at least. And it is something immediately accessible and something I've loved using myself. So I'm so happy we're talking about this today. In planetary magic, each planet has its own unique energy. It's based off of the idea that each planet rules over certain areas of our lives. Even if you've never heard of planetary magic before, you're probably familiar with the idea that Venus symbolizes love and sex and often the feminine. And you can work with any of the 9 planets in our solar system. And yes, we are including Pluto as a planet because it's a part of our solar system. But the inner 7 planets are in general the most applicable to work with in our business because they govern our physical reality. Plus, they are what we can see with our naked eye in the sky. So we as humans have a longer tradition with working with them. The first 7 planets used in planetary magic are Sun, Moon. Yes, the moon. I realize it's like not really a planet, but Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. Any of the planets past Saturn are not visible to the human eye, so humans didn't really know about other planets until after the invention of the telescope. And we recognize magic through synchronicity. So when you're invoking a planetary deity, you're inviting those synchronicities into your life. You're manipulating your vibration to reflect the energy of the planet you want to emulate. So you're moving into that planet's sphere of influence. And maybe you're thinking, I want to improve my financial situation. Jupiter is a planetary deity most associated with money and expansion. So I'm going to talk to Jupiter and give him offerings and gratitude. I'm basically going to wave a big flag in his direction and get him to notice me. And when he does start to notice me energetically, I'm going to make a lot more money. So this is a little cheekier than what you're actually practicing with this planetary deity work, but you're actually starting a relationship with Jupiter, relationship with whatever planetary deity you choose to work with. You're inviting his favor, or her favor, or their favor. It can be genderless. As we talked about in episode 8, you're a lot more likely to get $20 from your best friend when you ask them versus randomly asking a stranger on the street. Same sort of thing with whatever influences you're working with. We're building this relationship so you're not just that weird person who's going around asking for favors from random people. It feels weird. No one likes that. Maybe it sounds simple, broken down like that with that one example, but that's actually how it works. As long as you have the habits in place, working with the planetary deities can help you expand different parts of your life in whatever ways you can dream of. It's something I've seen work for myself, and I've also seen lots of other people improve their lives in this way. That's why I suggest it to business owners looking for magical practices to grow their business if they aren't really happy with what they're doing or they just want to expand their practices. Because when you feel like you're treading water, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's felt this way. I know I'm not. It's often because you need a bit of an energetic push in the direction you want to go in. The planets can give you that energetic push. And as I mentioned, each planet rules something different. And we're going to get into which planet rules what soon, but right now, I want to make the point that it's really easy to want to work with all of them at once. When you first discover planetary magic, you might feel like you have so many different areas of your life or your business that need help or assistance, whether it's money, confidence, writing, business savvy, whatever. And you just want to go ahead and work with all of the planets, but that actually isn't the most effective way to get started with this because you don't want 7 half-hearted relationships that aren't really going to make a notable impact in your life. You want to start with making one really strong relationship that can completely transform you. If you focus on multiple planets, you'll end up spreading your energy too thin and not making much headway with any of them. It's like having one best friend that you tell everything to, someone who you would trust with the world, versus having 7 friends you kind of know but don't really spend much time with. That one relationship is going to fulfill you so much more. Plus, let's be real, doing legit 7 weekly rituals with 7 different planets is a lot less likely going to happen than starting with one, proving to yourself that it makes a difference. You're likely to continue that relationship in the long term instead of getting overwhelmed and dropping off after a few weeks. So, start with one planet and build a working relationship. Start with whichever can help you with your most pressing need. We'll discuss in a few minutes how you can determine that. There's a few different ways. And build a really energetically powerful relationship with that planet. The more energy you channel into the planet of your choice, the more it will return the favor and help you, even in areas that aren't technically its area of expertise. So even if writing and communication belongs in the realm of Mercury, if you have a close relationship with the moon, you'll discover that the moon can help you with that too. I found this is a really incredible lesson in focus and prioritizing, to look at your life or your business and say, well, these 12 things need to change, but which is the most important right now? So let's jump into deciding which planet you want to work with. So I recommend using Maslow's hierarchy of needs for this. For those who don't know, Maslow's hierarchy is a pyramid that has basic needs on the bottom, like food, health, rest, and then gradually increases to the top of the pyramid, which is self-actualization. And I'll include a link in the show notes talking more about this. But the pyramid might look a bit different if we're talking about business rather than a single person, us as an individual, but the principles are pretty much the same. The very bottom of the pyramid is your physical health. And there's other things, but I'm just going to give this as an example. It's the foundation. It impacts all of the rest. So even if you are just scraping by financially, I do recommend starting with your health if you are having health issues, because it's at that base of the pyramid. It's going to be so tempting to go to focusing on money, but your health affects your energy levels, you being able to show up in the world, and you getting that shit figured out first. It'll help you financially, okay? So if the most pressing need in your business is that you lack the confidence to pitch your sales one-on-one, that should trump someone who wants to scale their multiple 6-figure business. So if your issue is that you're consistently working 10-hour days and never getting any rest, that has to be addressed before you start bringing more creativity into your business. Because I say this all the time, but your best ideas are just not going to come to you when you're in this constant state of exhaustion. So building that in is really important. So be honest with yourself about where you need help. And even if it's not a super sexy area like more cash monies right now. And then the planet you want to work with will likely reveal itself to you. So if you're healthy, just start taking steps up that hierarchy of needs until you have clarity. But that's my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. Another way of identifying what planet to start with is your astrology. If you're familiar with your astrology chart, you can identify where you have very strong placements and decide what planet could have the most impact on your life. But not everyone's familiar with astrology, but just if you are, that's another way of connecting that in, because obviously planets are a huge part of astrology. So moving on, how exactly do we do planetary magic? After you've decided which planet you're going to work with, there's a pretty easy process to get started. And then, like with any magic, you can make it your own. Work it into the rituals you already do and make new rituals to honor the deity you've chosen. The results are all about how much time and energy you put into it. So in order to create a space where you can comfortably develop this relationship, you want to build an altar where you can put different magical objects that resonate with your planet. So that's our very first tangible task to get started. And don't worry, in a little bit, I'm going to walk you through which materials resonate with each planet, and I'll list them in the show notes too. So for now, just listen and absorb the process. So once you gather the materials you need and use them to set up your altar, this should be an area in your house that you reserve for worshiping or giving devotion to your planetary deity. It can be as big or as little as you have room for. I've seen like full rooms in honor of different planets, and I've also seen like one corner of like a mantle or a middle shelf somewhere. It can be really anything, but this really is your sacred space. So put down a cloth, set up your objects, herbs, crystals, whatever else you associate with your planet, with your goals, whatever else you want to give to your deity. You can spend as much or as little as you want setting up your altar. This doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Your deity isn't going to ignore your offerings just because you're broke and doing the best you can. But if you have the money, it's a good idea to invest in things you find beautiful and meaningful. Consider any money you do spend to be a part of your offering. So, a note on magical objects and their associations. One question I used to wonder, and maybe you're wondering it too, is how do we know what objects resonate with each planet? How do we know that cinnamon resonates particularly with the sun or that lavender resonates with Mercury? And the answer is we trust the wisdom of the ancients. Over the millennia, people have come to associate the energies of different natural objects with the energies of the planets. You see that a lot in magic, particularly root work, where every natural thing has its own spirit, and that spirit has its own personality. And that comes from centuries of human spiritual wisdom. So that's where this information is coming from. And you can also just trust your intuition. As you research your planet and its associations, you'll start finding contradictions. Think of it like, but what you can really do is just think of it like giving a gift to a good friend. You can go with what you know they like or what you've heard that they like, and that would be kind of like looking at these lists of Mercury likes blah, 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 and the moon likes da, 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 and just going with that. Or you can give them something that calls to you that you think they would like, just based off of your gut. And that would be like, oh, I really think this one friend would love this one thing. It's really calling to me, so I'm going to get it for my friend. So again, we're just creating relationships and being good friends and being good lovers, if you want to think of it that way too. So anyway, at your altar, you can give daily offerings of food, drink, incense, essential oils, and put symbolic objects on your altar. Include them in your ritual. Surround yourself with them. You can start each day by thanking the deity and giving the offering in gratitude. Thank the deity for everything it has done, everything it is currently doing, and leave it at that. For me personally, I offer food once a week on the day that is associated with that planet. I don't really do it daily. I offer a drink for them then too, and I mostly give a scent offering by burning an incense or diffusing essential oils, and I'll do that part of it every morning at my altar, just reawaking energy, keeping the space clean, dusting, just making sure there's not gross stuff or whatever. And then I'll also light incense during my rituals and when I'm setting intentions. So that allows me to create a space where my energy is being channeled exactly where I want it to be. So that's creating your altar space. So now that you have all of that background for getting started, we're ready to really dig into the planets and what they are all about. So I'll give a general overview of each one because we don't have enough time to go delve deep into all of them, but I'm including everything you need to know to get started, and so you can choose the right deity for you, and so that you know how to work with it. And as you get excited about one of the planets, start Googling. As I mentioned, this is a very large, ancient tradition. So there are very, very many resources available if you want to go down a rabbit hole for any of the planets and different ways to work with them and different ways to honor them. So starting with the sun aligns with the energy of consciousness, well-being, confidence. This is the planet that can help you with strengthening a positive sense of self and purpose in life. It's also the ruler of vitality and health. And because of that, it's really popular to work with because so much of ourselves, our desires, our abilities come from our well-being and our sense of self. This would be the most important part of Maslow's hierarchy. You need a solid sense of self to be able to build upon if you want to achieve higher levels of happiness and success. And especially in business, confidence is key. Whether you're making your first sale or your 100th, you need to be highly confident in yourself and your business and your offer, or else no one else is going to buy from you, most likely. I mean, I shouldn't say these like harsh statements, but The sun helps you to embody your role as a leader, an entrepreneur. It can improve your ability to be true to yourself and know what direction you want your business to move in going forward. And the sun's colors are gold and yellow. So if you decide to work with the sun, you can wear these colors. You can put them around you. You can paint your nails the color of the planetary deity you're working with and wear clothing and jewelry of that color and make it your phone background. Basically, we're just surrounding yourself with it. And I found that when I do that, every time I look at that color, I'm reminded of my goals, and it's really focusing and reinforcing my intentions. And eventually, you'll see your goals manifest. So for the sun, your offerings can be incense or essential oils like amber, cinnamon, citrus fruits, plus crystals like tiger's eye, citrine, and gold. And if you want to offer food or drink, you can start with sun tea. That's a tea that's been steeped in the sun's heat versus using hot water. Cider, orange juice, sunflower seeds. These are all tools you can use on your altar and in your rituals. And if you're putting out offerings once a week or daily, you can use all of these things. So moving on to the second deity, you could work with the moon. The moon holds the energy of the unconscious, emotions, and the soul. It's perfect for magic that increases psychic intuition, feminine energy, and happy home life. Working with the moon can help you create a better home life harmony if you're struggling to find time to do everything you need to do and still show up fully in your family and relationships. And it can also help get in touch with your feminine side. And in business, that looks like leaning into the flow, taking time to rest, following your intuition, improving your psychic abilities. And another reason you might want to work with the moon is if you're used to reacting suddenly, which is so easy when you feel like we always have to be on with the internet. And working with the moon can help you take your time to think and respond, help center you around the idea that as a business owner, sometimes it's not all about calling the shots. Sometimes it is about listening and reflecting before you make a decision. And the moon's color is white. So you can offer things like eucalyptus, amethyst, quartz, salt water, any kind of milk or non-dairy milk, edible flowers, seafood. And because the moon controls the tides, she's very connected with all things from the sea. Side note, I usually record these podcasts in the mornings or afternoon, but I'm recording in the evening right now. So you might start hearing these little chirps, and they're frogs that come out and make lovely noises in the evenings. So when you want to work on something related to communication, technology, and travel, Mercury is your best bet. Working with Mercury will help you develop and improve writing and communication skills, including branding, to ensure you are delivering exactly the message you want to be delivering. And if you're having trouble getting your audience to engage with you or finding the right messaging, Mercury can help. Mercury is also associated with fast cash and marketing. So that's fun. If you have a big online launch or program, you can work with Mercury to ensure that technology is on your side and all things are going smoothly in that regard. And if you're planning a retreat where people are traveling from out of town, you can work with Mercury to ensure all the travel plans go smoothly. And if you're performing rituals with Mercury, you can use things like lavender, carnelian, jasper, honeysuckle, any adaptogen. If you're offering food, you can offer coffee, tea, wine, bread, olives. And so next, let's look into Mars. Mars is the planet for motivation, beating the competition, and sex. Where we kind of mentioned earlier that Venus also is associated with sex. So like Mars and Venus are very like commonly associated with this, like the masculine and the feminine. So of course both are associated with sex because come on. Anyways, Mars is also associated with lighting a fire under your ass and going after what you want. So working with Mars is great for developing your own animal magnetism, making people lust after your business. So you can ask Mars to help you with things like finding motivation, especially if you're facing a period of sluggishness or procrastination. And if you're stuck in place, you know where you want to be, but you just can't seem to get there, this is the deity you would want to work with. And the energy of Mars is embodied in the color red. So you can offer this deity things like garnet and red aventurine and ruby and any spicy food like cayenne, chili, pepper, ginger. Now on to Venus. So we all know Venus as the planet of love, and she's also the planet of enhancing your attractiveness and being irresistible. It's also of artistry and finding success in creative endeavors. And she's the planet of being completely charming or winning people over, having people desire your work. She's also the planet most associated with luxury. So if you're interested in high-ticket sales, she can help you with that. Obviously, you want to use Venus to create an audience of adoring fans, to enchant your audience and develop a customer base that's totally in love with you. And if you don't know what I mean by that, I'll link to our podcast episode on enchanting your customers in the show notes. It's a good one. So every business needs this. Probably every business owner should work with Venus at some point, because if you want to grow your business, you need an audience that is charmed by you. And you need a customer base that loves you so much that they keep coming back for more. And Venus's color is pink, also green in Vedic. But if you want to work with Venus, you can offer her roses and rose quartz and fancy perfumes and red wine and chocolate and all foods and things that are lush and fancy. She loves it. And just adoration, of course. So moving on to Jupiter. Jupiter embodies expansion, prosperity, and wisdom. So it's great for magic that will grow and scale your business because it's the planet for money magic. It's also the planet for expanding awareness and attention. So its energy is helpful if you want your business to grow. So Jupiter loves laughter, fun, community. Jupiter loves the color blue, so offer things like sapphire, turquoise, blue agate, plus plants like oak, chestnut, nutmeg, and expensive food and drink like fine whiskey and roasted meat. Think of things that your rich, jovial grandpa would love. Those are all good offerings for Jupiter. And finally, the planet Saturn. So Saturn rules the energy of law, reality, karma, fear, mastery. It's the final visible planet in the sky. So you can kind of think of it as like this final border between our physical reality and these like more unconscious, esoteric things. So it is also the magic of death. So that means it's the magic of transformation. If you're in the process of transitioning away from a business idea, or if you're mourning the loss of a business that just wouldn't work, Saturn can help you put that business to bed so that you can kill off the ideas that didn't serve you and clear the way for new, better business. You can work with Saturn to bring more structure into your life and into your business, and also to master a field of study. It is not a planet I've worked with personally because that's not the type of magic that I do, but for some people it really resonates with what they want and what they're looking for. So Saturn rules the color black. Things like vetiver, lead, obsidian, and poisonous plants like belladonna and nightshade. Those all are resonant of Saturn. There you have it, 7 planets that can help you attain the level of abundance you want in your business. And I just realized I forgot to note the days each planet is associated with. Some are pretty obvious, even in English, but let's just run through those really quick. So, and these can be days that you do your offering. So Sunday, associated with the sun. Monday, the moon. Those are pretty clear. Tuesdays is Mars, and that's actually from Tyr, a Nordic god. Wednesday is Mercury. You'll actually see that association when you translate Wednesday into French. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Thursday is for Jupiter, like the god Thor. We all know Thor. Friday is Venus. Saturday is very obviously Saturn. And super side comment here is I have not seen any reference to this anywhere, so this is all speculation on my end, but I find it very, very interesting that the Jewish culture celebrates their God on Saturday, and the God of the Old Testament is pretty intense, almost Saturnian. But then the God of the Christian religion is celebrated on Sunday, even though they are supposedly the same God. And the God of the New Testament is pretty beneficent, right? Interesting. Well, that's my little random tidbit for the day, side comment. So you can plan your rituals with the days of the week associated with your beloved planetary deity, and can actually work with the planetary hours of the day. And I'm not going to go into that here, but a good app to use for that is called Hours, like HOURS, and it makes it really easy and takes into account your sunrise and sunset of wherever you are. So you can add another layer of meaning in there. So I personally started working with Jupiter as the first planet I ever worked with. He helped me a lot with getting my financial shit in order. But I mainly work with the moon now, and I have a very strong moon placement in my astrology chart and felt an immediate emotional connection when I started working with her. It just was like super obvious, like, oh my gosh, like clearly need to keep working with her. And she's helped me with all sorts of random ass stuff, like the obvious things of creating a safe home by helping to get rid of crazy neighbors. And by get rid of them, I mean, I worked with her on having neighbors that were friendly and of integrity. And that just happened to mean or equate to my current neighbors moving out because they were crazy pants. But she also helped me increase my income so I could afford to live in a more expensive place that I loved. And she's helped me to create good client relationships and to get referrals and just straight up getting new clients and loving myself more. So I think it's a good example of this not being super cut and dry. It's all about forming a meaningful relationship with a powerful entity and asking for their help and giving them love and gratitude and appreciation, respect, acknowledgement, all of that in return. Once you're consistent in working with the planet of your choice on a weekly basis, giving daily or weekly offerings, you can start being more concrete with your requests. Come up with a tangible goal that the planetary deity can help you with and ask for help. Let the deity know what you will give in return. And some examples here is you could donate to a charity related to your planet or host a big dinner with foods and drinks that they like. Get creative here. And again, this is after you've built up the relationship. No one likes the person who randomly DMs them a pitch. Don't be that guy. So I also recommend researching, aka getting to know the planet you start working with. Read poetry about Venus or myths about Aphrodite. Look at artwork that's been created for them. See if you can find any pop culture references. Just act like you have a crush on someone and you just want to know everything about them. Again, relationships. We're just building relationships with our planets, with our audience, in our marketing. Life's about relationships. We recognize magic through synchronicity. I said that before. So pay attention to how the deity you're working with is talking back to you. For example, I know a friend who hears specific songs on the radio or poetry when Venus is communicating with her, and she's worked with Venus for years. So building up this level of observation will not only make your magic stronger, but it will give your life more meaning. Because every area of your life can be steeped with magic if you're paying attention to it. So when you're deciding which planet to work with, take time to meditate and focus on what's the most important thing in your business right now. Is it nailing down your message, finding the right audience, scaling your online programs, just bringing in cash? Then just get started consistently. You can add in a calendar event on repeat in your Google Calendar, whatever calendar you use, if you need help with that consistency. Okay, that was a lot, but I can't wait for you to dive in. It's an amazing, amazing practice. And next week is episode 10. We'll be celebrating. I'm going to pick a few listener questions to answer, so send those over via DM on Instagram. We are at The Dirty Alchemy. I'd love to hear what planet you're attracted to working with and why. So make sure you comment on the podcast post over on Instagram so I can geek out on that. Have a great week.